Alright, we're going to do a quick lesson on how to plot your points once you have them recorded on your map board. So, we've already got this map set up where north is pointed this direction. You can see our compass arrow here, our directional arrow, and north at the top of the map. Random placement for point 1, just because we're not doing the whole map on this one. Just an exercise in getting these points in. So our first point, number 1, we're going to start here, moving from number 1 to number 2. We're at north 28 degrees west. So we're going to move our protractor into place. I went ahead and put point number 1 at the intersection of 2 major grid lines. And that allows you to line your compass up so that this bottom line and your 90-degree line are running along those major grid lines. For the first one, it's easier to set up that direction. Okay. Now you'll notice on this protractor that we have 0 to 180 degrees on the inside and 0 to 180 degrees on the outside. Running in opposite directions, which means when you're working on the left side of the protractor, that is the northwest quadrant, that you're going to have to run with some sort of straight edge to allow you to figure out where in there you're supposed to be in order to get correctly on these outside numbers. So we will start with our point on point 1, and from there we're looking for north 28 degrees west. So if we look here, then we're going to be going in between 20 and 30. We'll be at 26, 27, 28. And make sure when we're on 28 that our straight edge is lined up on this point here so that we're actually shooting a true azimuth. And make sure that we are lined up with 28 degrees on the out here. Okay, so you'll notice that 20 lines up with 160. That would make this 25, 26, 27, and 28. Okay, so the easiest thing to do now is to just take a pencil and mark a line out here. That will give you your azimuth. Okay, that will tell you where 20 or north 28 degrees west is. You can move your protractor away now, and now you have a straight line that you can draw back to point 1. Okay, now you know exactly which direction point 2 is. Now you're going to have to do some calculation. Okay, so the pace count that we have is 4.29 feet per pace, and we had 9 paces. So we're going to be at 9 times 4.29, which gives us 38.61 feet. The scale for this is 1 inch to 20 feet. So if we just divide by 20, that will tell us we are 1.9305 inches on this map. Now, luckily we have a straight edge that's just a ruler. It's not super precise, so trying to get to, 0.9305 inches is probably not going to happen, so we'll guesstimate there. But as you'll see, we can put this 0 point on our point number 1, and then I don't know, somewhere roughly around 0.9 inches, we're just going to make a little line here, and we can come back later with our straight edge and give a perpendicular line, and that'll designate us a point right here that is point 2. Okay. From here, it's a similar process to get to point 3, except now, of course, you'll see if we get a little closer here that point 2 is not sitting on a grid line anywhere. Okay, wait for that to focus. There we go. So point 2 is not sitting on a grid line, so lining up your protractor is going to be a little bit more challenging. So you're going to have to put that point on point 2, and then it's just eyeballing to make sure that you are parallel with the major grid lines. Okay, so your grid line here that runs just underneath, and then this grid line that runs along the 90-degree line, you're just eyeballing to make sure you are as parallel as you can get it. And then it's the same process as before. So from point 2 to point 3, we've got north 66 degrees west. So we're going to start from this center point here that we've got sitting on top of point number 2. We're going to make sure that we are at 66 degrees, which is going to put us somewhere between 60 and 70. And that will put us right about here. And you'll notice that while I did this before, it looks like I actually plotted the first time 61 degrees rather than 66 degrees. So please make sure you double check your work so that you can catch mistakes like this. If you misplot one of these points, everything after that will be wrong. Okay? So please make sure you're accurate. So again, we're going to be between 60 and 70 on the inside measurements because we're working in the northwest quadrant. So 120 is equivalent to 60 on the inside. So we're going to be at 60, 65, and 66 is the measurement that we need. So we're lined up down here in the bottom. We're lined up here at the top. And we're just going to drop a line right here. Just something to tell us what our direction is from this point. Now we can take the compass or the protractor away. And we're going to line up on point 2 and make sure that we're running over this line that we just drew. And we can extend that out a little bit and give ourselves a nice line to work with and figure out where our actual point is. Again, now we're going to go back to calculation. Okay, so we know that from point 2 to point 3 was 7.5 paces. So 7.5 times our pace count, which was 4.29 feet, which gives us 32.175 feet. All right, we'll divide that by 20, which is our scale, and that gives us 1.6 inches that we need to go in order to get to point 3. So again, we're going to line up with our 0 on point 2, and we want to get as close as we can to 1.6 inches lined up on this line that we drew before. So from here, we're going to end up somewhere, somewhere roughly out here. Okay, so I already had a line that was about 1.6 inches out, so really it's just an arc from that one. So this will give us our point 3, and we can come back and get rid of this one, but we can just leave our 3 there. It's still close enough to designate where this intersection is our point 3. And from there, it's more of the same. Now, one thing you're going to have to consider is that when you start working this direction, of course, now your protractor is going to be working upside down. Still works exactly the same, right? You've still got 0 to 90 and 0 to 90. So now when you're working in your, your southeast quadrant, you're going to have to work with the straight edge again to try to make sure you're lined up on the correct lines out here. All right, that's all we got for now.